Dynasty Warriors Origins. After 7 long years since Dynasty Warriors 9, we finally got a new Musou game that is fun to play. Origins really give the feeling of overwhelming power, an army of one. You'll be defeating enemy troops in the thousands, and the gameplay just feels awesome. I gladly give Origins a 4.4 out of 5. Okay, there's not much story here, so I'll go through the non-gameplay portions quickly. Origins take us through the romance of the Three Kingdoms from the point of view of the Wanderer, a member of a secret order called the Guardian of Peace, and you have amnesia. Wow. I'm not sure how much the story is different, I just skipped through most of the cutscenes anyway. The major battles are still here, such as this famous naval battle between Cho and the Allied Coalition. Midway through the game, you will need to pick one of the 3 factions to support. This sets a path for your missions and locks you out of the other 2 for the most part. But after you beat the game, you can go back via chapter select and support one of the other 2 factions and continue checking those out. I guess this does add some replayability since you will need to beat the game several times to see all 3 sides of the story and get the true ending. But enough about the story, it's time for gameplay. Instead of picking one of the dozens of heroes from the past, we only play as the Wanderer, but to make up for this, we got 10 weapon types that we can swap anytime in the middle of a stage. Obviously, not all weapons have the best move list. Some are better in 1v1 duels, while others have massive AoE, and being able to swap anytime is a real plus. Each weapon has their own level or rank, where you unlock more attacks and specials for the weapon. I find myself favoring the sword for smaller fights and duels, and the lance if I want to feel like the god Loibo. Okay, I know the halberd is Loibo's actual weapon, but you don't unlock the halberd until New Game Plus, so the lance is the closest thing we get. And technically, there are companions to pick from during your mission prep. There's one companion for each weapon type, and they do the exact same animations and skills as the MC, but some of those attacks are only available near the end of the game, so it is still nice to be able to see the cool moves and screen clears early. To me, the best thing about combat is how smooth it feels. Mowing down hundreds of enemies in a single ultimate and rushing through the dense fodder feels better than ever. And the parry system is also very rewarding. Once you get used to enemy attack patterns, you can become a parry god. Successfully parrying not only stops the enemy momentum, but you also do a good chunk of damage back, and they are defenses for several seconds. Hitting generals with strong attacks will break their shields, and when it reaches 0, you can unleash a barrage on them for big damage. And if they are low enough, we can just outright finish them off with a cinematic kill. Now for some potential negatives of the game. The core of Origins is a Musou game, which entails a lot of mashing the same attack over and over to defeat hordes of enemies. I know this can get repetitive for some, but to me, it's still very satisfying, and compared to previous entries, the power of newer hardware allows all the enemies to be on the screen at the same time. This is much better than the limited 20 to 30 foes on screen from previous games. Another thing is, this is a single player game only. There's no split screen co-op or anything, so you can't play with your buddy like the old days. And the most annoying thing for me is when trying to destroy towers and catapults. The human enemies are fun to deal with, but the war machines barely get damage from your normal weapons, and requires calling your personal guard to destroy them. And if you are surrounded or getting attacked, then you need to clear up the foes in order to not get interrupted while using these guards. So that's a little annoying because this slows down the pace of combat. Finally, while we do have 10 different weapons with different movesets, I found a couple to be very annoying to use. The Podao and the Twin Pikes have the biggest flaw. Their best attacks require either holding the button to charge up before releasing, or mashing the strong attacks. But the Twin Pikes are super slow, and an officer can easily hit you out of the combo, making even using or starting up those strong attacks to be very annoying. However, my favorite weapon, the lance, also has a charging mechanic. The biggest difference is the super armor you get with the lance while charging. This weapon is designed to tank hits while you are charging, since you can unleash an even stronger attack back if you are hit enough times during the charge. So yeah, not all weapons are winners, but with having 10 to choose from, I'm sure there's at least a couple that fits your groove. There's also minor parts of the game that I'll speed through. We don't pick stages from a menu, we roam around the overworld to find encounters, which includes main missions, smaller skirmishes, and side quests. You end up collecting a bunch of weapons, and outside of the unique New Game Plus weapons, you will mainly use the one with the biggest number, and there are friendship bonds with some of the renowned heroes to diverge from non-stop combat stages, and that's about it for Dynasty Warriors Origins. Like I said from the start, Origins is a really smooth experience that lets you feel like a mythical warrior. It's very satisfying mowing through hordes of soldiers, and it's one of the best Musou games out there. It's not perfect, can be repetitive, but if you are a fan of Musou games from the past, then Origins will let you relive that fun nostalgia and then some. Thanks for watching, Tiso out.